Now on this episode, once again, the ladies addressed the situation where Porsha had said maybe she should sleep with Charles Oakley. And like I said, this is not a good look for Porsha. She done already took one married man that was on the show. Now she is talking about sleeping with another married man. Is this supposed to be Real Housewives, or is this I will take your man? So anyway, Cynthia met up with some of the ladies to see what had really went down. So Cynthia met up with Shamia and Kelly, and Shamia was like, Brit Shade was there. Charles Oakley done cheated it. Allegedly, did I say allegedly? But anyway, so this is what Brit Shade was, is that Charles done cheated on Angela and got this outside baby outside of their marriage. So what kind of shade is that? Because this done came up more than once. It seems to be an ongoing thing that this man allegedly has an outside baby on his wife. And not only that, it seems like Brit tried to shade Angela to her face on this episode as well. But Angela was not having it. When Brit tried to tease her about having trouble in her marriage, Angela did not play around and she did not mince words. And she let Brit have it. But we're going to talk about that in a minute, because that is when they was at the Belly Barbecue celebrating Juneteenth. Back to Cynthia meeting up with the ladies at the restaurant, Kelly and Shamia. I was a little bit disappointed at Shamia, because Angela thought she would have been on her side, considering that Shamia is married at all and Angela is married. So these two are actually Real Housewives playing on Real Housewives. You don't get that too often, because half of these ladies are married and half of them are not. But Angela thought that Shamia should have stood up for her against Porsha. You might just have some expectations that are just not realistic, because Shamia is always Team Porsha. No matter what, this girl is Team Porsha. Well, at least for now. You know, this is her first year on the show, and Porsha is her link that pretty much got her on the show. So she gotta show some loyalty to Porsha for at least a couple of seasons. And as Brit likes to say, girl, you is not reading the room if you thought that Shamia was gonna take up for you over Porsha. Oh, Porsha, when she was hanging out with the ladies talking about she should F Charles. Charles, who was a married man. Just not a good look for Porsha. As entertaining as Porsha is, talking about she should F a man that is already married, and you already got married to another man that was already married on the show. It is just not a good look. Now you said you was on the Hennessy and y'all was all drinking and whatnot, but still, that is no excuse. That is unacceptable. So Cynthia was talking to everybody. She even talked to Porsha about it. Porsha's like she don't remember saying it. A good thing, you know, those cameras was rolling. You know, Angela had her cameras rolling too. You probably would just flat out deny. But now you're saying you just can't remember. And Cynthia said, girl, you blaming it on the Hennessy? And then you're talking about Hennessy say tonight. I guess you wanted to blow up on Angela. But she did blow up your birthday party by inviting Drew on your birthday trip. I mean, really, if you wanted to invite Drew on the trip, you would have invited her. After all, it was your birthday. Now, I will give you that. But mad as you may be at the lady, and as much as you may want to swing on the lady and whatnot, talking about you gotta sleep with the lady's man that is her husband, not just her man, her husband that she has been married to for 10 years. That is just unacceptable. But she told Cynthia that she would now never ever F anybody's husband. But girl, we don't know about that, because wasn't Simon married to Fallon? Well, she's falling off the show, but name started with an F. Is all I can say. So the lie detector determined that is a lie. I don't know, maybe you waited till the man got a divorce, but it is very suspect. So Angela was mad at Shamia and put a long behind text to Shamia saying something about a fake behind sisterhood and that their morals do not align. And when she's talking about morals, she's talking about Porsha out there talking about sleeping with her man. You know she is not here for that. Now, according to Cynthia, y'all probably shouldn't have been partying that late at night. She said the only thing that's open after midnight is legs, jail, and the ER. And she said that's why you should take your behind to bed early. Really, at midnight, Cynthia, on a birthday trip? Girl, you is starting to show your age. But you might have a point. But these ladies took their behind to bed, they might not be embroiled in all of this drama. But if we didn't have any drama to watch on The Real Housewives, what would we be watching it for? So Cynthia announces that she's going to have her annual Belly Q. And at this Belly Q, she's going to be honoring Juneteenth with a twist. She's going to have a prophet there. And this prophet seems to know all the ladies' business. So Angela took the situation to her husband, Charles, and how she had heard them talking about him and how he is messing with a girl in New York. And it seems like Charles was kind of taking over Porsha over Angela. He was not liking that. So she told him what Porsha had to say about him, like he was so easy to F to sleep with. He was like, anybody can F Charles. Even Porsha herself can F you. Girl, why you let the man know that Porsha want to sleep with him? I don't know if that was the best thing to do. But according to him, Porsha cannot sleep with him. Okay. Angela told Charles that she asked Porsha, why did she take that girl's husband? And Charles was like, how do you know she took him? And Angela was talking about the streets. No, she took him. Do you not watch the episodes? On the show, you need to go back and watch some episodes. You wouldn't have to heard it from the streets. You could have seen it for yourself. 1 minute she was over to the girl's house and the girl was talking about it was her husband. And the next thing we knew, Porsha had done married the man. And now they are going through a divorce. And Charles said the streets is the worst thing to talk to. Maybe he's trying to tell you you don't need to talk to the streets about his situation. Maybe he been hearing things on the streets. I am just saying, he might be trying to cover for himself. So anyway, Angela is talking to her husband Charles about what Porsha had said about him and how easy he is to get with, and that she could even get with the man. And he was like, no, she cannot. Now we're going to have to give him the side eye on that. But he said Porsha don't know him. But he kept it cute. He got the right answers for his wife Angela. So hopefully we will not see him and Porsha together. Now, I don't think that we're going to see these two together, but you just never know what craziness is getting ready to go down on these reality shows. Yes, that's probably why Porsha does not want her man, her baby daddy, to be filming with Drew Sidora. Anyway, she said that she confronted Porsha and asked her did she have anything to say about her man. And Porsha got up out of that because it was getting ready to get real. She was getting ready to go to war for her man. Do you know Porsha be kicking people? I am just saying. And then we see Porsha with her man, speaking of Drew. And she's upset because she heard that he was filming with Drew. Now, they did do a studio session where the cameras was there. But Dennis said he is no longer managing Drew. And this is out of respect for Porsha. Well, it appears that Drew must be under new management. But it is not Porsha's baby daddy. Well, it looks like Porsha got what she wanted in this situation. Now, fast forward to the Bailey barbecue, where it all goes down between Angela and Brit. Seems like Brit is always in the middle of something. Seems like she's trying to be the shady queen. She's trying to take over Kenya's spot, but we the fans are not here for it. I mean, she does bring the drama, but our loyalty is to Kenya. Now, the prophet, she has some good things to say about the ladies. And then Miss Angela arrives, and it seems like the ladies are still upset about the trip. At least Miss Brit is. Seems like she had a lot of negative attitude towards Miss Angela. Now, where Angela got negative energy upon her arrival, when Shamia arrived, she got a warm greeting. Of course, she was out there partying with the ladies by the pool after midnight. They was talking about Angela's husband and the alleged side baby. And that food was looking good at that Bailey barbecue. Some good old soul food, some collard greens. I thought the mood would have been good. So when Angela arrived, it all changed. These ladies are not feeling Angela. So the prophet told Angela that there is something going on around her in terms of an individual, and that she and her spouse need a vacation or something. Now that is all Brit wanted to hear. Something shady about Angela's marriage. Now, according to the prophet, she's getting too comfortable and the comfort has to stop. She said that sometimes you get too consumed with all your work. Now, Angela is into that real estate, and sometimes you lose your SC for your man. Alright, Angela said, where's her phone? She got to go to Victoria's Secret. She got to order something from Victoria's Secret real quick. She got to get her S back. And the prophet asked Angela, does she have a Porsche? And told her that her man has his eyes on something. Not do the woman have a Porsche. She might not have a Porsche as in a car. She has a Porsche as a friend. Well, not exactly a friend. A work associate that has been talking about sleeping with her man. Now that was all Brit needed to hear. The man had to question it. She said, now he got a Porsche. You asked him, do he have a Porsche and not a Porsche, right? And that was a key for the ladies. But of course, Angie does not think that that is funny. You talking about her man and Porsha. Now she told Shamia that 2025 is her money making year. Like I said, she had something positive to say for the other ladies. But for Angela, girl, your man got his eyes on something. And you need to get your exy back. And while the prophet over there giving everybody they reads, the other ladies over there taking shots. So you know what that means. They feeling themselves. And when Brit started feeling herself, she might say she got a pow in her purse. But in this case, she started shading Angela. Drew was the last one to arrive to the Belly barbecue. Seems like she was the only one that was friendly towards Angie. We all know that Drew could use a friend or two herself. Drew was going through so much that she was the only one that the prophet had to speak to all alone. And how about Kelly talking about Drew is an actress, so you have to be careful with her. In other words, she was saying that Drew is being fake. But the prophet knew that Drew was going through some things, so she said she was going to talk to Drew in private. Drew got way too much going on to be talking in public with you girls. Now, according to Porsha, Drew want to tell the lies in front of everybody, but she want to tell the truth in private. Not she mad because Drew going to get a private session. It's given that you mad because your baby daddy was managing Drew. But we gonna give you a pass, because after all, he is the father of your child. So Brit couldn't hold it back any longer. She wanted to talk about what the prophet had to say about Angie. She said that she thought that the prophet was spot on when she did the reading for Angela. And Brit had to be so dramatic, talking about, do you not read the words that are coming out of my mouth? Leave it to Brit to be dramatic, the same way she was at the gathering at Kelly's house. She always has to cause a scene. So Angela said, girl, that big behind mouth, I should be able to read that. And not Brit coming back at Angela talking about, it sounds like you need to use that mouth more often. She trying to say that the girl's marriage is falling apart. However, she was talking about what the prophet had said, that she need to get her exy back. So Angela had the good comeback. She said, but I don't need to use it as much as yours, girl. Not you got them stretch marks around your mouth. Oh, she was shading her about what had went down at Kenya's hair salon. So Brit getting up talking about show her. And Angela said, girl, you got mouths on your mouth. You don't need nobody to show you how to use that mouth. You need to teach somebody. Ooh, child. And not only that, she said that Brit was a garden tool, and she said it to her face. Alright, but Brit didn't get too mad. She said maybe you need to be more of a garden tool with your husband. I guess she's saying that maybe your man wouldn't step out on you. But you know, allegedly they say he got a baby outside of the marriage. And now Shamia is saying that she wouldn't be mad at her husband if he had a baby outside of their marriage. Talking about she'll try to get the baby to come live with her. Not you being a baby snatcher. And I know you want a child, but you know you would be upset if your man had an outside baby. Angela expresses to Shamia that she was upset that she let Porsha talk about that she might sleep with her man, because after all, Shamia is also a married woman. But we all know that Shamia is not going to check Porsha. As long as it ain't her man, I guess she ain't worried about it. She just want to drink and hang out with Porsha. I guess she said that it's not her fault. She has been knowing Porsha for way longer than she has been knowing you. But at some point, girl, you gotta come out of Porsha's behind and stand on what is right. Even though it ain't your man, you know that Porsha shouldn't be out here talking about. She might be sleeping with somebody else's man. But at the same time, Porsha was mad at Angela for inviting Drew to come on her birthday trip. That was just a little bit messy of Angela. While Angela was being just a little bit messy, you took it to the messy to the nth degree, talking about sleeping with somebody else's husband. And Angela looks like she can fight. Fallon not so much. So Porsha, girl, you might be done met your match, I'm just saying. But anyway, this is the messages that went down on this episode of Real Housewives of Atlanta. These are just my thoughts and opinions, so everything is allegedly. So anyway, let me know what you thought about this episode. Still no shady Faye. Looks like she might be on the next episode though. It looks like it's gonna be a hot mess on the next episode. Thanks for tuning in. Make sure you leave a comment below to let me know what you thought about the episode. And give this video a like. You know it helps out with the algorithm. And go ahead and subscribe to this YouTube channel. I am trying to get up to 1,000 subscribers. Thanks for stopping in. Hope to see you on the next video. Bye for now.